You know, Mr. Vogt, you say that, and I'll go ahead and start this thing just to prove you wrong. 20 more and we might get started. I'm going to start early. Somebody actually asked me earlier if we could start early, and I said, sure, why not? So we will start early. Chip Levan says, I'm ready, as am I. Retired Butcher Boy is the one who says, can we start early today? And I appreciate that. And Kimberly Kester is okay, I'm here. But I think Kimberly might be actually Daniel in disguise. Somewhere down there I saw that. Logged in with her email on this. And so, of course, that'll cause all kinds of problems somewhere down the road. So I appreciate that. Daniel's back to being me. Adam Gallagher, good afternoon, Steve. And FDSS, good afternoon, Steve. Chris Berg, good morning. Tornado James sent you a good article I saw today. That crossed my desk a few minutes ago. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Matt Tricks, you're getting to be an acquired taste. Ronald Kramer, hello. Roadkill, here from Louisiana. Cajun country. Susan Johnson in the house. Dennis Berman, hey, all. Dallas on board. Jordan Alsop checking in from Sarnia. Sad news, they canceled the OHL season. This current, what would be playing right now, has been canceled. Hopefully they'll be back in the late summer, as they always would be. But the Ontario Hockey League, I follow several teams from there. So there you go. Gordon, 861, hey. Daniel Kester, are you properly hydrated? I will be. I will remain hydrated. I'm just going back to water. I don't know why. I mix it up from time to time. FDSS, any more qualified immunity dominoes fall? Not really. I cover those. There's like 4 or 5 topics that I can cover that people really get into. So I'm always looking for them. Qualified immunity is one. Civil asset forfeiture is another. Police shenanigans is another. And then strangely enough, the home equity theft. I did a story on that this morning, and it's doing really, really well. And I always think that that's not going to do that well. I don't know why. There's some reason that I think that that's a little bit too out there for people to really get fired up about, and people get fired up about it. So there you go. Stephen Shaw. Hey, Steve, the other Steve with a PH from Bath, Ontario. There is a Bath, Michigan, where there was a tragedy years and years ago. We've talked about that before. The Rooster, hello from Lansing, checking in. And Fred Stewart checking in from, I'm guessing, Ravenna, Ohio. I've heard both Ravenna and Ravenna, depending on where the city is or the town. There's one in Michigan, they say Ravenna, like the E is an A. So I'm guessing that you might be Ravenna also, but with my luck, it's, Johnson. Richard R. in the house from Minneapolis. Bug me one. Hey, Steve, hope all is well. I hope all is well with you as well. Sean Huntley has not ridden yet today, but apparently already has 5,659 miles under his belt. And, the thing is that I actually don't have an odometer on my bike right now. I had one and the battery died and I just never bothered to fix it. Just sad. Mark Hoover, only one video this morning. I have another video that's in the can, as we say, and I pushed the morning video. I'll explain this one time. I had a video that went up at 10 a.m. It's doing really well. And my concern was if I put up another video at noon and a live stream at 1, it was going to get so diluted that nothing was going to get done this morning. So I left the video up at 10 by itself. We're doing the live stream right now before 1 o'clock. And then the second video today will go up at 2 o'clock. And so hopefully tomorrow we can get back on schedule. But I've noticed that the videos that put up at 10 a.m. do better than the videos that put up at 9 a.m. And I'm not sure if that's a thing or just a weird fluke. I'm studying it right now. The investigation is ongoing. Hey, Duncan Campbell from Melbourne, Australia, you commented on the video that I think you sent me about something that happened in Australia. And somebody in the article said it was a stuff up. And I said that was an Australianism because we don't say that here. I mean, we use the word stuff and the word up, but not in that manner. I'm hoping you can define it. I assume it means a screw up or a mess up, that you've fouled something up. And so I was hoping for an Australian to give us the official definition of a stuff up. Quiz Nation, just a question. Do you answer questions? See, if I answer that question, the answer is obviously yes. If I answer it no, I'm a liar. Killer GB 420, nice D104, the famous Silver Eagle, referring to this microphone right there. And I apologize. I get people who give me a hard time who say, hey, those aren't broadcast microphones. You keep saying that you're a disc jockey and those aren't disc jockey microphones. Well, no, if I was doing that, I'd have 12 of these back there. So I just think microphones are cool. And about half of those were donated to me. So the big Shure in the middle, I bought at an antique show years ago. It was the first microphone I ever bought. 2 or 3 other ones I bought, and the rest were donated. And so it's the generosity of strangers. So yeah, Duncan does confirm that a stuff up in Australian is a screw up, what we'd say here in America. So Rubyfire 76, your vids are really informative and greatly appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. People send me notes and they'll say, Steve, I hate to bother you, but I just want to let you know that I like your channel. I always write back and say, thank you. You have no idea. It makes my day because so many people only complain about stuff. And I get complaints. And when I get a complaint and I'm looking at it, somebody's complaining about something I did 3 years ago, and they're still all fired up about it. And I'm thinking about that. I get another one that goes, hey, Steve, love your channel. It's like, yes, they offset. The universe is back in balance. So Claude McKenzie just catch a story about the tire slash that left a piece of themselves behind in the driveway in Maricopa, Arizona. Yes, I did. And I did not do a video on it. It seemed awfully short, but somebody apparently went out and was going to slash some tires. And in the process, accidentally slashed a piece of themselves off. Seems like that's kind of defeating the purpose because number one, it's hurting you more than it's hurting them for once. And number two, of course, they could probably catch you better by the fact they could match up the puzzle piece, So Simon Rawl checking in from the UK. Andy Guerin going for a run, listening to the live broadcast. Wow. That's the one thing I do run and I also bike and I can listen to people talking when I'm biking, but when I'm running, I'd rather listen to music, but that's a personal thing. So Randall Nerler, if an officer asks me, do you understand the rights that I just read you? And I answer yes, didn't I just violate my right to remain silent? This is a contextual question, meaning that it depends on the setting you're in as to what the correct answer to that is. Because presumably you have the right to remain silent. And by silent, we mean silent. Silence is 0. If you want to, you can literally go through every interaction with the police with your mouth shut. But it's not going to help you sometimes. And so, let's suppose a cop pulls you over because he thinks you're doing 5 over. Walks up, knocks on the window, you roll your window down this far, and he goes, do you know how fast you're going? And you just sit there. And he goes, driver's license and registration. Now, I've had people say, I don't want to hand that over because that's a violation of my right to remain silent also. But we can argue about that. But the point is, if you want to, you can just sit there. Just sit there and watch what happens. And it ain't going to get any better. There's a chance that you'll be pulled out of the car, handcuffed, and taken to the station for some reason or another. Or just, they'll turn it into a really long, painful stop. And so when they ask you, do you understand your rights? If you choose not to answer that question, you've basically left them in a position where they're saying, okay, either the guy doesn't understand or he doesn't want to tell us, but we don't know which it is. And so they get stuck kind of. And so I'm not really sure I'd encourage that, but as an intellectual exercise, it's fun to think about. I always tell people to kind of play it by ear. I've had people say, you should never make small talk with a cop. I have, and I've gotten away with it. You don't slip in like, boy, I was really speeding there and I didn't see you. But you say things like, hey, it's kind of late out, and I'm I only live a mile down the road. Things like that could help your case. But again, don't admit to things. But hey, Nathan Miller checking from Berrien Springs. I got to get down there. I haven't been down the southwest corner of the state of Michigan for a while. I got to get down there as soon as the hamburger stand on Main Street in Eau Claire opens up. I got to find out when that is. Sheila West, Steve, I love your channel. All caps. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Fred Corrado Jr. Hi, Steve. Hi, everyone. Oh, Patriot Lightning sent me some shirts, and it goes, and you sent me back a thank you card. Thanks so much. Yeah, I do often send people cards to let them know that I got stuff. I've got a card that's got my logo on it. I'm not sure if I've got one handy around here or not, but I do send those back if I can make out the address. So I would encourage you, if you send me something, there we go, to make sure that your return address is obvious. I've had people drop ship me stuff, and I don't know where it came from, but I will send you the postcard and I'll scribble you a little note in the back here. And I appreciate that. And by the way, I've got a whole host of T-shirts that haven't made it into the mix yet. I got 5 or 6. They just went through the wash. Meanwhile, JP's down in South Carolina buying me more, so I appreciate that. Duncan Campbell, if you're so bad, why do you have so many viewers? The funny thing about it is that a lot of people watch the videos and complain, and they like to complain. People like to complain. And I've actually had people send me notes saying how much they're upset by my videos. And I'm like, stop watching them. I'm not making you watch them. Nobody's making you watch them. So I can't spell for, which is misspelled. Thank you. I'm glad you found some stuff that viewers like. I want more consumer law, Apple warranty stuff. I've got a video coming up about Apple this afternoon. The second video today will be coming up this afternoon. So Lady Michigan says, say my name, which I just did. I of course, I actually had somebody the other day say, Steve, where are you located? I said, Michigan. They go, really? Is this news to people? Michigan plate, Michigan plate, Michigan plate, Michigan plate. This plate here references Michigan. The Florida and the Virginia are misnomers to throw you off. And I know I've just misused the word misnomer. So I malapropped misnomer. MW Duck gets the reference to the title, as in Pieces of April. Thank you very much. Tom Pinniff, good afternoon, Steve. Mr. Phil, 1969, just got the notice that I am live. Well, that would have gone out right on time because we were supposed to start at 1. What size is good? Double XL. XXL. Please don't think you're doing me a favor by sending me an XL. You're not. Double XL. I'm tall, for one, but I am a little huskier than I look, especially now. At the end of the year, right before the marathon, I'll be a little bit lighter than I am right now, but it's that COVID thing. Alex Rosenbaum says, hey, Steve, I saw you on VinWiki. Why not mention that? I will. I've been on VinWiki several times. I've now done 5 videos that have been broadcast on VinWiki with Ed Bolian. So please, if you like car stories, which is the subtitle of his channel, go to VinWiki. That's the name of the channel right there. And just VINWIKI. And go there on YouTube and go through his recent videos. And you'll find a video I did where I talk about, which one was this? I forgot already. Oh, the Woodward Dream Cruise. The Woodward Dream Cruise. And I tell the story about all the people I represented at the Woodward Dream Cruise. And so if you watch that video and you like it, in the description, he's got links to all my previous videos on his channel. So this is the 5th video. I've done 5. I did one about the winged cars. We did one about Tucker. We did one about lemon law. We did one about traffic tickets. And then we did the one about the Dream Cruise. So it's just me telling stories, but it's long form. It's 10, 12 minutes of just a one good long story. And I shot 11 videos with him. So I'd gone down to Atlanta back in February and shot 11 videos. So 5 have been posted and 6 more should be coming up somewhere down the road. FDSS says, Steve, you always start early. If you were a judge, we'd all be in contempt. No, you know what's funny? There was a judge in Oakland County, Michigan named Barry Howard, and the court allegedly opens at 8:30. Most courts, once you get inside the building, then the courtrooms themselves open up anywhere between 8:15 and 9 o'clock, depending on the clerks and so on. Judge Howard would have his courtroom open by like 8 a.m. And you walk in, there'd be a clerk there. You'd walk up and you check in, and invariably, within 5 minutes, you'd see the judge stick his head in the door and look to the clerk and say, do we have anybody yet? And if there were 2 parties ready to go, he'd come in and handle them. And then he'd look at the clerk and go, is there anybody else? And by 8:30, he'd have half his docket cleared. And people learned that if you have a hearing in front of Judge Howard, get there early. You will get in and out. And the sad part is you can go to Oakland County on a miscellaneous motion call, which is like Wednesday morning. And if you got to be in 2 courts the same day, which is possible, There are people who will go check in at one court, go check in at the other court. They'll go back to the other court and go, oh, we just called your case. You weren't here. So they wait. They go back and you do this thing where and it happens all the time. They'll call a case and they go, I'm sorry, Your Honor, but he stepped out. He's over in Judge O'Brien's courtroom or whatever. And so the key is that you could get in and out of Barry Howard's courtroom and nothing flat. He was such a good judge. And it in contrast to the other judges who wouldn't show up till 11 a.m. and walk out like they were on time. So Michael Pasquale, hey, Steve from Northeast Tennessee. Love what you do. Keep it up and stay safe. Peace. I appreciate that. I like that. Thank you very much. CyberDocs checking in from the 14th Street Bridge in Richmond, Virginia. You just watching the traffic go by or what? G Vogt, is CRL in the house yet? She might not be here today. I apologize. I think she mentioned that she had other things to attend to. Bruno Buzz, hello, Steve. Greetings from the UK. Awesome content. Always interesting. The differences in law between the UK and the US of A. And that's interesting because, see, look at this right here. See Kevin Grant there? Okay, I'm removing him, but I don't know if that was supposed to be funny or not. But, and there he is again. Wow. So how do I, there he goes. Okay. I again, oh boy. Tornado James, you need moderates. Well, I actually have some, but it's a question of how fast you can remove somebody and how fast the chat's going by. But CyberDoc, Steve, watching traffic and feeding homeless people. There you go. JG, I need a lawyer dog. Yeah, and the lawyer dog's back there. So, Mike D, how do you find time to do lawyer stuff? Well, it's been easier with COVID because the courts have all been closed. When courts open back up again, it might be a little more difficult. But right now, I've been managed to work it all out. Stephen Kuhn, hello, Steve, from your number one fan in Pensacola, Florida. Thank you for checking in, my friend. Road Wrench, where are you going on vacation this year? I don't know if I'm planning anything special. I'll make it the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I go up there every year a couple times in the summertime, so I will definitely do that. But I don't know about actually going any place like, Disney World or anything like that. We'll see. G Vogt, I loved your role reversal video with Canadian Robot Lady. It's funny, for April Fools, on April 1st, I put out a video, which was just a video about a guy who got paid his last paycheck in pennies. And I thought, well, that's a pretty unoffensive video. It's not going to bother anybody if I have a little fun with this. And I shot the video, and I had the Canadian Robot Lady overdub it in her voice. Then I did the intro, and I did the outro. And I thought that was the joke. There were people who didn't get it. There are actually people who legitimately didn't know that was a joke. It's April 1st. Oh, boy. Don Jackson, I need a lawyer cat. Problem with a lawyer cat, I'm not sure a cat would be that good of a lawyer, because the problem with a lawyer cat is I think that, number one, they'd be too easily distracted. And I think a lawyer cat might just wander off if they get bored. Kind of like, Andrew H., where's a good place to send crazy law stories? If you want me to see them, send them to my website. It's steve@lehtoslaw.com. Steve@lehtoslaw.com. Let me see if I can type that without bumping anything over here. Steve@lehtoslaw.com. Make sure I spelled it right, because occasionally I get that wrong too. There we go. So go ahead and send any email correspondence to that address. I actually stopped putting the email address in the end credits because people are just ignoring it. People still mail stuff to my office. And so specifically, please mail all correspondence to my P.O. box. Please, please. Stuff goes to the office. And it's, it's not the crime of the century to do that. It's just that once in a while stuff comes in and it's not clear who it's supposed to go to. But if it goes to my P.O. box, it comes to me. So I've had stuff that was mailed and it just said Steve with my street address with no suite number. And it bounced around the building for like a week because they're like, no, there's no Steve in this office. And then finally somebody goes, oh, Steve Lehto is in the suite upstairs. and somebody figured that out, but it bounced around for a while. So Matt Sanchez, are there In-N-Out burgers out there? In Michigan, no, there are not. They're working their way east from the West Coast, but I've had quite a few back when I was in California. And whenever I visit, I will go out of my way. I don't care if I'm not hungry. I will go out of my way to eat at an In-N-Out burger. And I always do. Irving Briscoe, dogs can't do x-rays, but cats can. Oh, boy. Matthew Roskin, you look into the Oregon IP13 banning standard established animal husbandry practice. Send me a note about it and I'll take a look at it. I'm always curious. One of the biggest problems when people ask me to look into a bill, they'll say, hey, there's a bill that's being considered someplace. A lot of bills never make it very far. And so if I spend too much time talking about a bill and the bill dies, then it's kind of like, I'm not sure if I spent that much time, should have spent that much time on it. Matawar, why do you put your office address in the videos? I'm required to by law. Thank you for asking. No, I just realized I've only mentioned it once or twice. But at the end of every video are two screens. And one screen says the episode number of the video, copyright, and then it says, Lehto's Law Correspondence, send here. The very next screen says, Steve Lehto is an attorney in the state of Michigan, licensed to practice law in the state of Michigan. His office address is, his phone number is, and then do not send correspondence to that address. And under Michigan's ethical rules for attorneys, any attorney who advertises is required to put contact information in the advertisement. And the question is, are my videos advertisements? And whether they are or not, to be on the safe side, I put the information there. But like I said, the first screen says send it here. Second screen says do not send it here. And people send it there. So Graham Mills, just noticed you're getting closer to 200,000 subs. Got anything planned? We've been discussing that at the Lehto's Law headquarters, which is when I talk to myself. And I'm not sure if 200 is actually the threshold or 250. 250 is, in my mind, a more natural threshold. I think it's 100, 250, and then a million, or maybe 500,000. But I don't know if 200 is as important as 250. But either way, I actually have a couple ideas of things that I could do for some major thresholds. And some of them are going to take some work. I hope they're as funny as I think they are. But you never know. So we'll see. It's not me 07. Is this an advertisement? Well, the videos could be perceived as advertisements because I talk about what I do for a living, and presumably somebody might call me as a result. But like I said, you just got to figure that out. Deborah Van Sant, hello from Lansing. I live here, but I'm not part of the Michigan government. Now, I worked there at the end of the last century. Yeah, it depends on what part of the government you work for. But Daniel Kester says 183,000 subscribers, but less than 200 here. Well, I see 485 in the house right now. But, the live streams are different. Live streams are different because it's who's available right now and wants to actually open up their phone or their device and watch right now. And it's those numbers are always lower than other numbers. So I don't worry about that. Homie789 says, Steve, isn't 200,000 subs twice as important as 100? But by that same logic, 101 is more important than 100 also. So the question simply is, what are the numbers that matter? And it's like almost like anniversaries. They go 1, 5, 10, 25. I mean, I know 20 is a big one too, but 25 always seems to be like a real threshold of some sort. Deborah Van Zandt, I work for the state of Michigan and the city of Lansing. Okay. G Keyman 565, have you tried Culver's? Oh yeah, several times. I like Culver's. Culver's is very good. I've been to several different Culver's. And Culver's, I'm not sure. I assume they're national now. I think they started in the Midwest, though. I think in Wisconsin or Minnesota. But they've got really, really good burgers, and they've got really, really good ice cream. And so as far as fast food places, each having their own little niche, Culver's burgers, in my mind, are like premium burgers, but the ice cream they have also very, very good. So, Tony Crabtree, amazing you don't have more subs. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Terrence Oliver, shout out from Arkansas. Thank you, my friend, for checking in. I appreciate that. Mr. R, if they offered, would you be a general manager of an In-N-Out burger just to get one in your area? You know, that's another job I might consider, just to get an In-N-Out in my area. Now, I really respect In-N-Out. From what I understand, it's a family-owned and operated business. They've gotten offers from huge corporations, and they just like, nope. We're just going to keep doing what we do, expanding slowly, maintaining our quality, not going to dumb anything down, not going to cheapen anything. We've got our standards. We're going to do it. And that means rolling out the restaurants at the pace we're going. We're not here to carpet the earth and In-N-Out burgers. We're simply here to just make good burgers, and we'll get there when we can. Matthew Shostman says the live streams are a niche population in the subscriber account. That's another way of putting it, but absolutely. If you think about it, like let's suppose I've got 183,000 people who have subscribed, and I think that's about the number, 183, 151. And so the thing about it is that, number one, some of those people are only on the internet once a month. They might catch one of my videos once a year. I mean, who knows? And there's other people who are on the internet all day long. And so, you know, but yeah, it's going to be the people who actually are around, have the gumption to actually fire up the thing and watch right now. And also, I suspect there's a larger proportion of people here who want to interact, as opposed to a lot of people just want to watch the videos. And I've watched videos that I'm fascinated by. And if you said, hey, Steve, do you want to spend some time and talk to the guy? I'd be like, not that interested. Oh, Killer GB420, are you into crypto or Bitcoin? No, I'm not. And I'm aware of it. I'm following it a little tiny bit. I'm not sure that it's here to stay. And if it is, I'm not sure if the other ones are. Obviously, Bitcoin is the biggie. But we'll see. There have been other things that people never thought would catch on, like, I don't know, the internet. Look where we are. Wild Bill 57, I think it was yesterday. At the end of the video, you forgot to say, put your questions or comments below. Yeah, you know something? Some of those ending cliches, I feel bad because I say the exact same thing, and I think most people know what I'm going to say. So once in a while, I try to mix it up, but it's a knee-jerk reaction, so... Homie 789, the video this morning on government equity theft was both infuriating and insightful, but makes you shake your head. That's the thing, is people haven't heard of this. You know, it's like, I remember the first videos I did on civil asset forfeiture, people go, that can't be true. Never heard of this. No, that can't be true. That can't be true. And once people realize it's true, they're like, that's mortifying, you know. So it's not me 07, got you around 30,000. Even back then, you were amazed 30,000 people were watching the channel. Oh, I was. Any number above 1 actually kind of baffles me. I mean, I watch the videos from time to time. So, JG, let's all set up an interview with Steve and Jesus. Or is that Jesus? Yeah. Keith Green, beware of the low-flying owl or turtle. Yeah, there have been a couple turtle incidents. I feel sorry for the turtles. I haven't done a story on it because that's more of an image-driven story. But Cyberdoc says that Lehto's fans definitely have gumption. Oh, boy. Philip Simonetta, you always have great and interesting topics. Thanks. Well, I appreciate that as well. Bans, any update on the Crazy Town grievances? No. I'll let you know. Trust me. Cyberdoc says Bitcoin allows the whole world to witness your every transaction. On some level, yes. Fupa74 still got the deuce and a half. No, I do not. I sold the deuce and a half back 2010, maybe 2011. I might get another one. I really loved that vehicle. I just didn't have, I wasn't using it, and I really didn't have a good place to put it. I could put it in my garage, but it required me to take the top down and put the windshield down and then put it in diagonally across 2 parking spaces, which I did all the time. I think the wintertime I did that. But it really would be more fun to have it where you've got a big garage with a tall door that you can drive it all the way in and park it indoors and just not worry about it. So somewhere down the road, I will get another one, and I'll shoot videos. Don't worry. Mindbend says, hey, Steve, I'm wondering, my desktop says 483. Does that include the Fire Stick I'm also watching on? If you've got 2 devices going simultaneously, the question is, are you logged into each of them as you? Because I believe that YouTube will actually spot that and only count that as one, but I could be wrong. I don't know. What blows my mind about YouTube is how they manage to track so much data regarding the videos. So I'll put up a video and it says it's got 50,000 views and so many thumbs ups and so many thumbs downs. And then it will tell me what the average viewing time was, how long the average person watched it for. And you start thinking that they're saving all that data on every single video. And it's very useful for people like me to have the data. But you start thinking like, okay, so they've got these server farms around the world, and they've got all the videos uploaded onto these servers. And then not only do they waste all the space doing that, but then each video's got a whole collection of data that they're saving on it constantly. And it really boggles your mind to think about. So it's amazing. Nigel Carruthers says Lehto's fans also have moxie. Moxie is an old school term. That gal's got moxie. That dame has got moxie, they might say in an old bad detective movie. Jason Jensen, Bitcoin is 100% a scam. But the interesting thing about it is that if enough people believe in it, it becomes real. Question is whether it will sustain itself forever or for a while or, whatever. So. Homie 789, when's the next Viper Drive? We had a cold snap here in Michigan the last couple of weeks. I took it down to a Cars and Coffee in Birmingham about a month ago now at Pasteiner's on Woodward. I love that place. And Saturday morning, brought it down there. Beautiful day. Stayed for the Cars and Coffee, left, drove around Birmingham, my old stomping grounds, went by the gas station where I used to drive the tow truck, and brought it back, put it in the garage. And I don't think I've been out since because it was just cold and chilly or rainy or overcast or just not good driving weather. But I'm hoping in the next week or two, they're calling for some good weather. If I can get a break in my schedule on a sunny day, I'll break the cameras out and go for a quick run someplace. And I'll upload that like I always do. So, yeah, Matt at War says the U.S. currency is a fiat currency. Nothing backs it other than our belief and the government. Yeah, it's pieces of paper. But we believe it's real. Therefore, it's real. Scott Baker, almost 5 billion with a B videos are watched on YouTube every single day. Yeah, the numbers on YouTube are staggering. And people who study the media will tell you that if you realize that YouTube as an entity, having 1 billion visitors a day watching stuff, makes YouTube as a network so far beyond ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, whatever, that this is the future of broadcasting in a roundabout way. So you're going to see a lot of transformation, I think, in the media with what stuff gets produced for broadcast television versus cable versus entities like YouTube or Amazon Prime or Hulu, Netflix, and so on. But YouTube itself has just got such a gigantic audience that it gives them a lot of sway in the space of media. What's sad is I jump in and I catch the last half of a discussion and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Oh, but the Canadian Robot Lady has checked in, and I apologize. Earlier I said I didn't think she's going to be here, And she sent me a note. You may have seen me look down. My phone is always right here. So occasionally I get texts during the show, and I look down and she sent me a note and said, hey, I'm going to try to jump in really quickly. There you go. So Mike D says that YouTube sucks except for Steve Lehto. I don't know about that. I watch all kinds of stuff on YouTube. I love Mark Felton. Mark Felton, for the history guys in the audience, Mark Felton does these World War II videos. He does a lot of other stuff too. There's also a German guy who does, I think it's called Military History Visualized, but he does a lot of stuff about World War II, and he uses more graphs and charts and stuff, which doesn't sound as interesting as it is. And this guy with heavy German accent explaining like statistics and stuff about battles that took place. It's fascinating. And I also, of course, watch Agamator, the chess guy. So there's a bunch, who'd have thought that, go back 30, 40 years and say, hey, look, someday, Steve, you're going to be able to create your own content, talk about what interests you, and have thousands of people watch it. I'd be like, what are you talking about? I mean, I'll be like doing a talk show on a radio station. John Doe, Mark Felton is great. Mac Attack, the history guy, and Mark Felton. Yeah, the history guy's another one who does a lot of very, very interesting stuff. Burl Osborne, what is up with the $100 bill? It's an old joke. I hate to explain it every single show, but I'll explain it once in a while. But there is a belief among some people that the Supreme Court has said you don't need a driver's license to drive a vehicle on the roads of America. And they've never said such a thing. And so I said one day several years ago that if someone can show me the citation where the Supreme Court said that, I'd give them a $100 bill. And I held it up and said, there you go, $100 bill. And I put it on the set behind me, and I jokingly said, it's never going to leave because no one's going to win it. And so ever since then, we've moved it around the set. I ended the contest months ago, and I still get people about once a week going, I understand you're giving away money if I can prove I don't need a driver's license. And I go, that's not what I said, but why? What do you got? And then they send me the same 3 cases, and they're not Supreme Court cases. They don't mention driver's licenses, and the contest is over. So, oh. Yeah, there are 516 people in the room right now, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Daniel Kester says, Steve, you mean you can't read messages and talk at the same time? I do it all the time. What are you talking about? I multitask. Well, yeah, and Matawar says the nice things on YouTube a lot of times is videos where you can actually see what happens behind the scenes in towing or HVAC or that. You can pick anything. That's the amazing thing of, I jokingly say donkey gymnastics, because I'm pretty sure there is not anybody doing that yet. But you pick anything. And by the way, if you want to know how to do something, okay, there are times when I'm editing in Adobe Premiere and I don't know how to do something. I minimize the screen, open up YouTube, write Adobe Premiere, how do I, and fill in the blank, and up pops video. And someone did a 3-minute video on how to do a certain kind of caption or how to do this kind of a fader. And that's where you go to get answers and to see stuff done. And now, a lot of it's strange. A lot of it is just for entertainment value. A lot of it's educational. A lot of it's both. So. Matthew Shostrom, do you know why the big nickel is 5 cents and a tiny dime is 10 cents? I assumed it was because of content. Back in the day when a dime was silver, a 10 cents worth of silver was smaller than 5 cents of whatever it is they put in a nickel, which I understand, generally speaking, is a very, very small amount of nickel and some other, like I think copper is a primary metal in a nickel, but I could be wrong. So Johnny Quest says Steve doesn't realize that Black's Law Dictionary supersedes state and federal law. More importantly, it's the 1908 Black's Law Dictionary. And all the later ones don't even supersede the first one or the second one. Black's Law Dictionary, once it was carved into stone on paper, it became permanent. And you cannot change that, apparently. So, CyberDoc, the Harlem Globetrotters played donkey basketball. Oh, I remember donkey basketball. They do that as a fundraiser about once every year or two at some little school in towns I've lived in. So, M.W. Duck, are you interested in addressing local bar association meetings? Add something interesting to that, which is usually, of course, I would love to. I will speak anywhere. I've said that before and regretted it. But generally speaking, if there's a bar association or similar that's within driving distance of me, and I like to drive, so don't think I mean 20 minutes. I mean, I don't care. I'm interested in speaking. If you can get an audience, I'll speak. I spoke to the National Association of Attorneys General down in Florida a couple years ago. They flew me down for that, but I spoke to them, and it was fascinating because these are the AGs or people from the offices from around the country. And they had me come in and speak, and the guy who invited me said, Steve, we just want you to come in and talk about the crazy stuff that you encounter as a consumer protection attorney and the problems that car buyers have got, what they face, and where the law doesn't quite help car buyers. And so I talked a lot about how people don't understand what as is means. People don't understand arbitration agreements. People don't know what the lemon law is. They don't know what the lemon law doesn't cover, and talked about that. So spent some time doing that, and I had a lot of fun. So Gary Weisenberger, my God, you are an attorney. Well, there's some people who don't know that. Fupa 74, getting lemon law letters from lawyers about my truck. How are they getting my address? That's a good question. If you filed a complaint with anybody that's a public entity, they may have given it up. Also, they might be taking a guess, meaning that if there's a problem with a particular make model of truck, they can often then go into a company that gets that information from the state's registration data bank and just send one and say, we understand you own this type of truck. If so, it might be a lemon. But you can obviously throw those away. It's the same thing as when you get a letter from somebody after you get a traffic accident or a traffic ticket, where they'll say, hey, if you need an attorney, you can call me. I do this. So the Minister of Gaming, Steve, I appreciate your videos and your take on legal issues. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Bond James, I wonder if the South Dakota guy was there. The Attorney General? I think he was. Mind bend, you will wear a suit and tie anywhere but here. I was wearing a suit and tie at the AG's conference. Wonder if I have that on. I don't have it on this. It's not on this phone. Sorry. I actually got I had my picture taken in front of the banner that says, National Meeting Association of Attorneys General, and got my picture taken from that because I was wearing a suit and a tie and my Doc Martens. Kid you not. Oh boy. Patriot Lightning, was lemon law your first choice of law practice because you are in Michigan, where so many automobile manufacturers are based and work is always plentiful? Well, kind of. That plays into it. I mean, obviously, if you're in front of a lake with a ton of fish in it, you go fishing. But the other thing is I love cars. And so there are not a lot of jobs you can get, especially in the law, where you can sit around and talk about cars for a living. And that's what I do. I talk to people about cars. People call my office. I got a problem. What type of car is it? They don't need to say what kind of problem it is. What type of car is it? So, Matthew Showstrom, did you hear about the massive fight for the name Josh? Yeah. It was kind of it was one of those internet memes / jokes that got out of control, apparently. But some guy named Josh put up a meme and he said, hey, look, I'm getting sick and tired of people named Josh. Why don't we all go to a field someplace and duke it out, and the last man standing gets the name? And so he apparently went down yesterday. Oh boy. Locked and Loaded, will you do a video on Caniglia versus Strong? That one doesn't ring a bell by the name. Send me a quick note and remind me. I'll take a look. David Persons, what do you think of the Legal Eagle guy? Don't know him. I'm not aware of him. I don't watch a lot of other legal channels on YouTube simply because I don't want to ever be even subconsciously influenced to do what I'm doing differently. Obviously, I know about Leonard, but Leonard French. But other than him, excuse me, I used to have a mute button and it screwed up the microphone. So Yeah, Patriot Lightning suggests that the women named Karen have an issue also. But in that case, maybe the winner's the one who gets to stop using it. I actually know a woman named Karen who's really, really nice. I actually know a couple Karens. And it's just sad because that became shorthand for that, so. Peter Mandix, as my friend Josh said, he wasn't invited. No, he was invited by having that name. That was just a per se invitation. Fupa 74. Does anybody else listen to Handel on the Law? Yeah, Handel's the one who's on the radio, and I mean, I'm jealous. I wish I was on the radio in a roundabout way if I was nationally syndicated. But Bill Handel's been around a million years, and what he does is very, very good. Tommy says you need a cough button. I've got one. I've got a cough button, and I installed it. And every time I hit it, people would say, hey, there's static being caused by it. So instead, I just try not to cough. Stephen Shaw had a drag race between my EV versus a Dodge diesel truck. I won in eco mode over a quarter mile. And think about this. The pollution you saved was dwarfed by what was put out by the Dodge diesel truck. Diana Goodrich points out that Canadian nickels were magnetic until Canada made them cheaper in the 1970s, since nickel is ferromagnetic, as is cobalt. I think I knew that. The funny thing is, growing up in Michigan, we get Canadian change all the time. People joke about Canadian money in other parts of the country. Seinfeld even had a joke about George trying to get rid of a Canadian quarter in one of their episodes. But it was not uncommon to get Canadian change over here, and as long as you didn't get too much of it, you weren't that upset by it. But I remember at the gas station working, somebody comes in with $5 in Canadian quarters, and I'd be like, "Hey, look, I can't take $5 worth of them. I can take $1 worth, but not $5." But the problem is that the coins are clearly made out of different material, and it's obvious, for instance, that American quarters have been clad since 1965. You can see the stripe down the edge, whereas Canadian quarters weren't clad the same way. And so you actually have a situation where you have a bunch of quarters, and you see one that looks like it's silver from the side, you pull it out as Canadian. So, Jerry Ormston, what happened to the rant videos? I stopped doing them because they weren't popular. They got about as many views as these live streams do. So I had a lot of fun doing them. I might bring them back on a very, very limited basis. But we'll see. Tommy Cash, can people still buy a house for like $1 in Detroit? I don't know if that's still possible. There was a time when that was the case, but the problem was that the house became an expense the second you owned it, meaning that you had to pay property taxes on it. You had to make sure it was secure. You had to secure the building for things like water and electricity. And then, of course, if you bought it and you weren't there, it might just go up in smoke one day. And so I actually spoke to somebody who was in another country, and there was a website selling houses in Detroit for like $10 or something. And they bought a house. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, well, it seemed like a good investment. And of course, later on, they got a tax bill saying, hey, now you owe money on taxes. So I don't know if I'd do that unless you really wanted to put the time and effort in to go down and fix it up and try to sell it. Mark Hoover says, do the rants during the live stream and we can chat about them. That's actually not a bad idea. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I will start making a list of stuff to rant about, and I'll bring it in next weekend, and I will do them at the end of the video. Because oftentimes towards the end, as we're losing steam, hey, by the way, guys, here's this week's rants. I think it makes more sense to do them live anyways. So we'll do that. Stacy Serrato says, wonder what the tax bill is on a dollar house. Well, that's the thing. It's not based on the sale price. It's based on the perceived value or whatever, and based on whatever the last valuation was. And some of those houses that you could buy for $1 were nothing but teardowns. And so the cost of tearing it down would be on you. So, Thoth Aman says, or maybe everyone in the comments be ranting also. Well, that could be. Maybe it's good for us all just to get it out of our systems once a week. Tommy says Detroit pizza has become an Instagram fad over the last few years, which I don't understand. And I'm from Detroit, but I mean, I get the point, but there are some good pizza places in Detroit. Somebody sent me a note. They were coming up to visit, and they said, where should I go to eat? And they're in the Farmington Hills area. And I said, hit Buddy's. Buddy's is a small chain that's really good. And they wrote me back to Steve. That was very good. So, David Person's Place, have you been vaccinated? Yes, I mentioned that not too long ago. I was vaccinated a week ago, Wednesday, for my second shot. Got my first shot 3 weeks before that when I got the Pfizer. First day on the Pfizer shot, had a small spot on my arm where it felt almost like a little tiny bruise. Went away by the next day. Second shot, same thing. Gone the next day, fine. So I've gotten both my shots. Joe Delecto says there was a talk at Google about the Chrysler Turbine car. Yes, there was. And I feel bad because I went in and talked to the people at one of the Google headquarter type places in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And they said, do you want to talk about the Chrysler Turbine car? We can get you an audience. I said, sure. Brought in a stack of books and I did a presentation. And when they shot it, they couldn't set it up in such a way that people could see the slides. And I said, but it's not interesting to see me talk if you can't see the slides. They said, well, this is what we always do, and they put it up. And so, I mean, it's gotten some viewings, but it's not the same. So shortly after that happened, I put up a video on the Chrysler Turbine car, which actually right now is the oldest video on this channel. Right now, the oldest video on this channel is a video I wrote on the Chrysler Turbine car. And I did that because I was so bummed out. I just gave this talk with all these beautiful slides, and people on YouTube couldn't see them. So, Line Screw One, howdy from Western Canada. And Irving Briscoe says, we have a delay in the COVID shots here in Canada. Got my first April 1st, but we're waiting until mid-July to get the second. I've heard that from several people. And you know, that's... It's a crying shame because we have a situation in America where there's some places that have too many shots. Like they literally don't have enough people to give them to. And so I always hate to see that happen. It's a logistics issue where you've got people over here who want the shot and can't get it. And you got someone over here with a bunch of them going, well, got no one to give them to. So. Texas to Sturgis says he can't unsee the word PEE right here. Several people have commented on that, but for people who don't know, the sign was given to me by Ed Bolian of VinWiki, and that's why there's a VinWiki sticker on the sign right there, and that's his autograph right there. And the sign is an homage to the Cannonball Run because there's a sign with an X on it in the movie Cannonball Run. And he, at one point in time, was the world record holder for the Cannonball Run. So, Mike Toth says that video is so old, it's in black and white. Much of it is. I actually thought of this the other day that I need to update the thumbnail on that. I shot that video and uploaded it and immediately got like 3 views. And... It's actually got a lot of views now, but I think a lot of people just simply found it and like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it's a slideshow, but it was basically a slideshow with me narrating it back in the old days. So, hang on. Somebody wants my email. Oh, boy. The interesting thing, Gary says, if you want a house in Detroit, get one that's over $250,000, then you should be able to live in that neighborhood or fix it up and sell it. There actually are some nice neighborhoods in Detroit. And what happens with neighborhoods is they tend to, like, a couple houses go bad and then it starts spreading. Or the reverse process. A couple houses get fixed up and that starts spreading. So I run the Free Press Marathon every year that they run it. And I'm registered this year. And as you're running out of Detroit after the half mark, around like, I don't know, mile 14 or 15, you take this long stretch of road and you run by the Elmwood Cemetery, which is where Douglas Houghton is buried. And after you run by the Elmwood Cemetery, you wind up out by Indian Village. And Indian Village is these big, beautiful homes with these gigantic elm and oak trees that go out over the road. You're going through a tunnel, and it's so beautiful. These big mansions, and that's Detroit. It's in Detroit. So it just depends what portion of Detroit you're in. And the stereotype is that everyone, when they talk about Detroit, they show photographs of the decaying Packard plant, and the Packard plant for years was just ruin porn, and everyone always had to see that. But there's so much more to Detroit, and it's interesting to see it. You don't see any town as clearly as you see it when you're running a marathon on the streets of it, because you're going real slow. Trust me, you're going real slow. You got time to look around, and you're trying to distract yourself to look at other stuff. So David Peterson says the new pickup line is, "Hey, I've had all my shots." John Doe 4880, what's your favorite movie? We've talked about this several times, so I'm not going to go too heavily into this, but I would urge you to watch the movie The Prestige if you have not. It's one of my favorites. I have others. There's a few comedies I like. There's some romantic comedies I like. But when it comes to he just said, Steve, there's one movie. You get to pick one movie that like, if you got to make a movie and you made a movie and you could show the world, go, this is my movie, what would it be? The Prestige. Christopher Nolan's the director. So I highly recommend it. So. Mindbend. You ever think of doing a cannonball at the top of Michigan? I wonder if anybody has ever done that kind of a thing. There's a problem with Michigan because there's the bridge between the two peninsulas and it's a choke point, meaning you'd probably want to do the speed limit over the bridge.